before you decide also to like do a little research and say, do I really need this? Yes, I think get the general education. I think that's still good. Just like, I don't know what Darcy's going to do. Like, she changes every day, but she's very young and she's just, she'll tell me stuff like, well, maybe I want to be a dog groomer. Now, mind you, people, she's scared of dogs. So I don't know how this will pan out in the future.
Are you recording, Susanna?
I am. Okay. Let go of all my stress, sunshine. No anger.
Mm-hmm. Is that how it works?
No.
Do you feel special now that you're privy to our bullshittery? It's the highlight of your day.
Does it feel new?
No, it doesn't feel new. It feels... I'm just never privy to it, right?
Yeah, we're never...
You guys are
really
very private about those things.
Yeah. If we're fighting, she won't let us leave the house. So when we would go to your house...
I remember.
I'm like, yes, we're fucking going. We said we're going to the fucking party.
Yeah, because you like to ignore people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no problem. I can ignore you if I'm pissed at you.
We already talked about this, and Susanna said she would rather us figure it out instead of going there and being awkward.
Well, if it's going to be awkward between
for me.
You two.
Yes, I know, because you're
with all
trap.
the other people. Hey, how you doing? Deidre, whatever your name is, and Dear Meat Lady, what's up? I just ignored her.
Yes, obviously, if you're having a fight and it's whatever, then you should work that out. And so you come over and you're ready to party.
Yeah, but sometimes it's literally 2 minutes we're supposed to be over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, suck it up. Get in the car. We're going to the party.
We'll talk about it later.
And at some point...
No, she doesn't say that part.
Oh, yes. Well.
She would like to just sweep it under the rug and pretend it didn't happen.
We talk it out.
Well, yeah, but you don't like it, apparently.
I don't like it. I'm not a talker-outerer. I mean, this is a newsflash for you.
So welcome back to another episode of the Unlikely Podcasters. I'm the talker-outerer.
Her name's Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the... I don't know. I'll avoid it until I don't have to. Susanna.
I'm Terrapod Superstar.
No, really. So, Susanna, every time you come over, you bring yourself a new little mug.
Here, check this out, people.
Yes, that's how she shows her wealth.
Oh, yeah, because these are like the really expensive. No.
Today, I am not drinking from my handy-dandy mug. I'm doing a shake. And the reason why I'm drinking these protein shakes is because in 2 days, I'm going to have my surgery, my skin removal surgery. So hopefully the next episode, you will see a different Sunshine, maybe, sort of. But all of that to say, on my paperwork that I filled out for this surgery, it asked me, maybe you guys can answer why, but it asked me, where is my education? What education level do I have? Why do you think that question is asked?
Maybe they're just snobby.
Snobby
they
about what?
It did look pretty fancy.
They want to know how to explain these procedures to you.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I've often
this
wondered...
is your tummy. I'm going to cut it.
I mean, I could think of lots of ideas, but I see it on a lot of things that you wonder, like, why do you need to know my education level for this? So,
yeah. Well, in my opinion, I think it's a demographic searching tactic. So they can see a demographic searching tactic.
That's the newest, that's going to be like another Fallout.
Oh.
And Call of Duty. It's
demographic searching
tactic.
So it is their way to determine what type of population, like we have. Most of our patients are, I don't know, because it also asked me my race and all that. So I think that they're trying to get some sort of census
there could be
information. Well, that's true
complications
too.
otherwise with different ethnicities. So yeah,
but
I don't have a degree in anything, and I figured that out. I
you
have a
do
degree in
have
audio
a degree.
engineering.
Exactly.
Oh, look at that. Let me do some cutting on you.
So
probably for marketing too.
Oh, that's true too.
Yeah.
So if they have more people from this particular demographic, then they know that's who they kind of go after. Mm-hmm. Good point. So that's what we're talking about today is education.
Do you need it?
Right.
And we're talking higher level educations here. We're not talking high school.
Right.
I think everyone should go through
high school.
Most of high school.
Most of. So yeah, let's revisit this. Let's visit, not revisit.
Let's visit. I did not enjoy high school. It was early.
No.
I had to wake up early. I was tired. So I missed
a
bit. I tried to take Fridays off.
Is that it?
But there were people who went to school every day and they would fail those classes. And I went to school
Couple times.
A couple times. And I was able to pass them. So I'm not saying that everyone should, but I mean, unless you're going to some super high level academic high school, then that might be a different story. But for regular old high school, if you can phone it in, I mean, if I can pass those classes and miss
Listen, she's a high school
27
dropout, people.
days.
High school dropout that
And then
had
a
to
returner.
revisit.
I
High
dropped
school.
out.
Yes.
And then I went back and finished.
Yes, you did. So we're all three firm believers that you should at least get a high school education. Correct?
Yes.
Are we on the same
I don't
page?
have a high school degree.
Well,
You have a
GED.
GED.
I
Yeah.
have a GED.
Yeah.
High school / GED.
Yeah.
And so you decided to get your GED when you decided to go to college?
Yes. It was actually a byproduct of that.
Hmm.
And then I decided to go get it. So I studied for my GED and then...
So you
Sorry,
studied
Chris.
for the GED, then you took a test, and then you had the equivalent of a high school.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I don't.
She
Well,
didn't have to go through.
But you never know. Like when you're trying to like...
yeah. And so for those of you listening and watching, Susanna is the one that actually convinced me to go to college. I had finished high school. I was working at the
McDonald's?
airport.
Oh,
No, because when I met
Yeah.
her.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
I was
yeah, the
working at
airport.
the airport. I was 19.
I was going to...
You were going to the local community college.
Yep.
And I had decided, well, I'm just going to work for a year or two and then make money and decide what I'm going to do later. I didn't technically write off college, but it also was not important to me at all.
She said it was dumb.
It was dumb. So 18,000 degrees later, $1 million later, and I have my associates, my bachelor's, my master's, and my doctorate. All because of you.
And you went farther than I did.
What had happened?
Well, I was older, and because I worked full time, I didn't go to school always full time.
Right.
So my education took longer. Once I got my bachelor's, I kept moving up at work, and that was very demanding. So I just
never decided.
just never did it. I did try to get my master's, thanks to you, but other shit happened, and it just didn't happen. And now I have no desire to go back to school.
yeah.
Like we've talked about, I'd want to go learn fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I went and got my master's and doctorate was to further my career. And at the time, in order to be a dean at this school, I had to have my doctorate. So then I had a little chatty chat with you.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you're like, I'm done with these damn degrees. I'm tired of you going to school. I went ahead and
Well, in hopes of having a sugar mama
I know, right?
thus far.
Then you're still working.
Yeah, I know, right?
yes. So there's some people out there, they just keep getting degrees just because they like it. They just like
Yeah,
learning.
they keep getting degrees so they don't have to pay their student loan.
Well, that's true too. Some of them do that.
So they rack up their debt so they don't have to pay their debt,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I don't know. I mean, the fact that you have to keep going to school so that you don't have to pay your debt, I mean, accruing more debt is a reason why I have a problem with people who just go to college because that's what people, you have to go to college, or you have to have a piece of paper to get a certain job, even though you may have worked in that field for a decade or more, but because you don't have a bachelor's, you're not able to move further, or people just overlook you.
Well, sometimes you can see on job openings, it'll say need to have a bachelor. Let's just take accounting, for example. You need to have a bachelor's in accounting or 10 plus years experience. So sometimes those caveats are thrown in there.
I'm fine with that.
But
But
if you need like a license, like a CPA license, they're not going to exchange one for one.
But
if they're hiring for a CPA, there's usually a reason. Like you have to sign off on some sort of auditing reports, or you're doing taxes or something like that.
But you have to take a CPA test.
Exam.
Yes.
Like you have to take the bar.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you are able to go in and take that test and pass it without having degrees, because maybe you worked with someone who was a CPA, or you're just really smart and you figured that out, then I think that should be allowed. But I think you were saying, well, why not?
I just feel like some degrees,
Because you can go
some
through
professions that you should have. So for like, say for accounting, most states, every state is different, which is dumb too. Just side note, all you people should get together and figure this shit out. But every state is different. And most states will say, okay, well, you need to have this amount of hours in business, this amount of hours in accounting, which is inclusive of some tax, some auditing, some cost accounting. So they want you to have the education, and you still have to study for the exam, which I understand what you're saying. If you have the knowledge and you pass the exam, what's the big deal? But some of those things, because accounting can be so vast, and it could change for so many businesses, from individuals, from nonprofits to whatever, that some of these things they want to teach you in the classroom setting, lack of a better word. And so you have all of that knowledge, and then you are prepared to take the exams. And so it's like a certain amount of knowledge you need to have under your belt so you're able to take the exams.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but because it's so different by state, because each industry is different, that yes, there are your general accounting principles, let's just say, but that does not apply to every single job. You could have a job that's like a broker, let's just say. And if you're trading, if you're doing other, for licensing or whatever, you're doing international trading or you're doing other things, your knowledge is going to be different than somebody who's just doing accounting for retail.
So let's clarify that.
Okay.
So accounting and finance are two different things. You would not, if you are going to become a broker, you would not get an accounting degree. You would not be a CPA.
Okay. So maybe that's not
okay.
the right example, but you get what I'm going. Where I'm going.
So I think in general, education in those types of fields, accounting, IT, and everything, they give you theory in education. It's a theory. You're learning the skeleton of that particular field. And so in accounting, you do have different buckets. You have tax, you have nonprofit, you have government, you have big four, you have private. So let's just pretend that's it. You also have forensic accounting, all that fun bull honky. But we have these five. Whatever. Let's say we have these five, you learn the skeleton. One of your businesses are going to fall up under one of those. Yes. So granted, each business, individual organization might have tendencies on how they might code paper to this and this company codes it to this. At the end of the day, when they file their taxes with the IRS, it's still coded to a supply.
Yeah, I know that.
And so that is what I mean where, okay, each individual, but I think that's any profession across the board. Doesn't matter what profession you're in. Once you're in it and you're immersed in it and you're doing it day to day, it's different than what you have learned.
That's true. So if your testing is robust, and I've worked a position for 10 years, and I've had exposure to all of it, and basically I had a mentor. It's basically, like a paid apprenticeship. I've done it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Why can't I take the test?
I don't know.
So why can't you just go to like a technical school and say, okay, we're going to teach you this crap about accounting, and then you can take the CPA. But no, you have to go through the whole schooling and get multiple degrees. Is that not true?
You don't have to get multiple degrees, no.
Well, you have to get a bachelor, you have to get a something else.
No, they just want you to have a certain amount of hours in a particular field. And so, whereas I understand what you're saying, it would be nice, but some of these professions, I think that you just testing out of it might not be enough.
Well, I'm not even saying test out of it, but if I want to go to school to be a CPA, then just let me take the classes that correspond with that. I don't want to take humanities. I don't want to take literature. I don't want to take some bullshit that I have to spend money on if I just want to do this.
So I've always pushed for education, and because I think it has a lot of value. Obviously, when I went to college, when you went to college, your degree meant that you were advancement, and most of the time it guaranteed a certain level of pay increase because you've put in the time. Now you could apply for these positions. You've had the work experience, whatever. So usually that investment paid off. Now, we could talk about whether that still is the case, but I've always believed that it was good. Same reason I say you should get your high school. And then my example for this is everybody likes to go with, I'm never going to use the quadratic form, whatever, math. I'm never going to use this formula in my life.
I don't even know what that formula is.
You may not ever use this formula. But working through math or working through Comp 1, from the math perspective, math teaches you how to work through a problem. It teaches you the steps. It gets you to a solution. It teaches you how to logically think through a problem. So while you may not be solving math problems the rest of your life, you will be solving problems. And that's the process that teaches you. So then you can work through them, whether you realize that that's what you're doing or not. It doesn't matter. That's what you've been taught because you've been taught the steps. It gets you to a solution. And that applies to life, in my opinion.
Yes.
But I mean, you can get all of that mathing and reading in high school.
Some of it.
No, yeah, because so like
you can
when
get
I
the
went,
basic working through a problem. I worked through a problem in high school. I understand the thought of working through a math problem. Am I going to give you the answer that's correct? Probably not. But I get the concept of that there is a process. It doesn't click for me, but I get it. It's the same way that there's a process in everything. There's a process when you go to science, which I did much better in. So it's not just math that gives you those things.
Right.
When you get into college, if you're not someone, if you can say, okay, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to focus on that, I can pay for those classes and not pay for classes that I don't need, then that makes sense. Sure, it would be great if everyone can experience the college, but not everybody can financially experience college.
But there's also people like that need Comp 1. And you making that determination, you, Tara, might not need it. However, Sally might need Comp 1. She needs to learn how to format a letter, format a paper, because she's going to have to use it in her job. And so
maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. I don't format letters in my job.
That's your job.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So if Sally knows I'm going to be doing something and I'm not going to be formatting letters, then she doesn't
How is she going to be sure of that? How are you going to be sure?
How are you sure that when you graduate with an accounting degree that you're going to go into accounting? Because now you, as we all know, are in what? Education. So, I mean, you're going to pay tens of thousands, $100,000 to end up with a degree that you might not even use. So it's, to me, college at 19, 20, 21 is all a crapshoot as to whether or not what sticks.
High school has become, it used to prepare you for whatever. We learned different things in high school than what they're teaching now.
Right.
You had home ec, for example.
Yeah.
They teach you how to balance a checkbook.
Yeah.
Which
doesn't exist anymore.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You still need to know how your bank works, right?
Yeah.
So even if it's not a checkbook, you need to understand the ins and outs of it.
Or how credit
works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So high school used to, I think, was more encompassing and prepared you more for you not moving beyond high school.
Right.
Now it seems like it's more of a pipeline feed into let's get you into college. And then when you get there and you ask people what they want to do, you're going into college with the understanding that, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to go into IT, I'm going to go into accounting. It's very focused in life. You don't have to go that route, but you could have those discussions like, how do you see your life panning out? Do you want to do this 9 to 5? Do you want to apprentice and see if you really want to be a stockbroker? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I think there should be more of that involved because you end up with thousands and thousands of dollars in debt in a job, in a degree, or in a field that you hate. Mm-hmm. And this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then they end up at some point quitting and starting all over again.
Yeah.
And then still having to pay
all that money.
Mm-hmm.
There's value in it. I think there's also just value determining what that looks like for you versus what the expectation is for everybody to just go to college and get these 10 degrees.
Well, I think that actually the society is changing that anyway.
Yes.
In general, especially, with all the social media and the people can make content, they can learn things. And the dying of some of these blue collar professions like a plumber or a construction worker, and that they're really having a hard time getting people to take up those professions.
Well, because people look down on those professions. It's like when you say, oh, my son's a plumber. It's not the same.
Plumbers make a shit ton of money, man.
I understand that. But the perception is oh, he's a plumber. as opposed to, oh, I'm bringing a doctor.
No, that's true.
The plumber could be making more money than the doctor and have far less debt of medical school, but there's an air about someone who's a doctor or a lawyer or a businessman, and a plumber.
Yeah.
People, so people kind of veer away. I think especially when you're younger and you don't realize that if you're a plumber, you can have a very good living and have a good business. But when you're younger, that's not what you don't hear about that. That's not the glamorous.
Yes.
So everybody does, when you grow up, what do you want to be? Plumber. Nobody says that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the fancy.
But it could afford you the kind of life you want.
Mm-hmm.
I think we do our younger generations a disservice not having those discussions. What do you want your life to look like, instead of pushing everybody through college, because that's just where we are. And, student loan debt is at the 1.77 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
And it is up 66% over the last 10 years. That's huge. And where does all that money go?
Mm-hmm.
To the institutions.
Yeah, to their football team.
In a lot of cases, yes.
Well, and I think, but I think some of that is contributed to the transition in traditional education. Education of, like, when we were in high school or whatever, the intent was you take your SATs, you go to your state college, you go live in a dorm, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But over the past 10 years, to your point, there has been a lot, and especially after COVID, like even the state institutions switched to online. But there are so many other types of schools out there that are not what our parents' generation or even when we were younger, what a traditional education was. And those types of schools usually are private schools, and they cost more money.
Yeah.
But if you are trying to go the non-traditional route, if you're going to cosmetology school, if you're going to be a plumber, you still have to get certified.
Yeah.
If you're going to be an electrician, you still have to be certified.
Yeah.
You still have to do some of these things. And so people are choosing to go these other routes, but that cost more money.
Being a cosmetologist does not cost more money. You're not taking a $100,000 loan to be a cosmetologist.
That's what I'm saying. So yes,
I understand that. What I was referring to is just like per credit hour.
Right. So like for a 6-month span, you may be paying more, but then you're done at that 6 months. And then you get into your field and you start working.
Right.
As opposed to years and years and years of just racking up debt. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I think everyone should do online school and travel. I think I think that
you learn a lot.
People can't learn that way though.
It's true.
In an ideal, I think if you really want to get the best education all rounded, is if you can go to a different country and still take your online classes, you get the traditional education, and then you get the education of what it's
that country
of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because people just get locked into the traditional, just the school, and they forget that there's a whole other stuff going on.
Yeah, I was reading an article earlier today, and it said, do I need a degree? And they said, not necessarily, blah, blah, blah. But if you do go to school, definitely incorporate some sort of education abroad for a couple semesters, because you learn 10 times more in that time span that you're there in that country than you would in your entire degree.
Not everybody can do that.
Right.
To your point, we've always said, we have to be doctors, or we have to have PhDs, and if that's the course you want to go, fantastic. I think that's great, and if you can do it, then do it. Right at this point, even before then, I don't know that I ever wanted. I mean, like I thought maybe PhD, maybe, but I didn't know what I wanted to go into, so it wasn't like I wasn't.
But did you want a PhD because it was for your career, or did you just want to be called a doctor and have a PhD?
No. It would be, if I did it, or if I would have done it, it would have been for career. So for those who don't know, my actual bachelor's is in statistics. So for me to really advance in that field, further degrees are required. Mm-hmm. So I would have always had to have, if I'd have stayed in statistics, I would have had to at least get at least a master's, but I would have guaranteed to have needed to get a PhD to further my career in that field. It just so happened that in the company I was where I kept moving up.
Where you were at was outweighing the what you would get from switching careers. And
at that point, because I would have been entry level.
Yeah.
And even now, right, I would have to start at the bottom to get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But, my sister, she is a cosmetologist. She made as much money as I did. Mm-hmm. 6 figures, people, as a cosmetologist.
Yeah.
So there's opportunities, I guess. And there's nothing wrong with not choosing to, get a bachelor's, because you can make money in other professions.
But some people think that and I think you're like, well, she tells Asher, you're going to go to college, you're going to get a degree.
I want him to do something. I just don't want him to sit in this home until he's 45 doing nothing.
I understand that.
And
but
so if
you
he
have
wants
said
to, but
before,
if he wants to learn photography, then go learn that.
Yeah.
If he wants to, no, it doesn't necessarily have to be a degree. I am full on board with a non-traditional route. I just want him to do something. I don't want him to be in his 40s and not have a retirement set up, not have anything to be able to take care of his family or himself.
But I don't think that would happen.
It has happened. There's people in our life, all three of our lives, that have
Yes,
chosen
but I don't
that
think
route.
it's true. But I think different conversations could have been had at some point. And maybe to your point, how do you help them? Okay, so you want to be photography. Yeah. That doesn't, okay, maybe he lives in your basement for an extra year, but you could help him.
I get that.
This is your path, right? Yeah. But you're better equipped to help him now because you're in a different place.
It's true.
If you hadn't gone perhaps your route, and so you could be financially and where you're at, you wouldn't be able to help him. Mm-hmm. I think younger people also, I think with social media and you see, they're more in touch with what careers actually look like. Versus us. We were on the outside looking in, and now if you really wanted to go down a rabbit hole and say, what's it like to be, you can find out.
That's true.
You can get a pretty good
idea.
Picture of, yes, you're going to make whatever, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to make $200,000 a year, but you're going to work this. You're going to work this. You're going to have to work. It's 12 years of education. It's blah, 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 blah. Right. And I think that's more readily available, and people have to actually see and make it like, I don't think I want to do that.
I always watch these people do van life, and I think that looks so great. But then then they show where the van is breaking down and everything in the van breaks down. And then I think about when we drive long distances. Yeah. So the idea of van life to me is very appealing. The practicality of van life to me, I think, would get old real fast. Yet every time I see it, I think, oh, that looks so great. Mm-hmm. I think until you actually
are in it,
get in the van and experience all that, is it worth it? Is the balance, or is it like, fuck it, I got to get out of this van? Mm-hmm.
This was me, stupid 20-year-old. I'm like, oh, I want a boat. I like to live off of a lake. I like to whatever.
Now I see people put something, I want a boat.
And then you remember Trisha?
Yeah.
She would come in after they had a boat, and they would go, and she would come in. So we had to clean it. We had to do this. We spent the day scrubbing it. We had to feel it. I was just like, I don't want a boat.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
No, I just don't want to do all the work around it. Just like the pool. I mean, you guys had a pool, but it's work.
Well, we didn't do any work.
Yes, but we paid for somebody to do the work.
But that's what I'm saying. It's work or it's money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I think that the landscape of working and your professions and your choices has vastly changed from when we were younger and decided which profession we were going to go into. And it's not always necessary to have a traditional 4-year degree to be able to do everything. I do feel that there are some professions that it's necessary. Absolutely. I don't want a doctor working on me just because they decided they want to do some snipping. I don't want that. I want them to have all of the schooling that they have, including the residency. I want the whole 9 yards.
I'm not against education. I just think that it's sometimes it's stressed more than it needs to be, and that there is a bias against people who decide to not go the traditional route, and that they're looked down upon for being something other than a white collar worker. And I think that's I think there should be a shift there.
All right, friends, let us know. Like, comment, share. Let us know what you feel about education. And have a fantastic week. Peace out, bitches.
Adios.
Bye.